Hey everyone, this is Chris and Josh. We're just cutting in here real quick. We'll get to your jump players in just a second. We recorded the jump players last week, but since then the Colts have traded for Carson Wentz, and we just wanted to give you guys our thoughts on that real quick. As a Colts fan, I am lukewarm about it, but it's not a bad deal in their favor, and it sounds like the Eagles are having a little bit of seller's remorse because of what they got for it. Let's just start at the top here. That the Colts are giving up their third round pick in this year's draft and at least a second in next year's draft. I say at least because the conditions of the deal is that if Carson Wentz plays at least 70% of the snaps and the Colts make the playoffs, that pick becomes a first round pick in next year's draft. That would be 2022. Or if Carson Wentz plays in 75% of the Colts snaps and the Colts don't make the playoffs, it still becomes a first-round pick in 2022. So overall, that's not a bad deal.
But it's getting close to his original value, which was second overall, I think.
Yes. He was the number 2 quarterback selected in whatever year he was drafted. 2016, I believe. Let's look that up real quick. And it was...
Guess who the only remaining starter is out of that entire quarterback class? If I remember my research correctly. Dak Prescott. The only. Wentz,
yeah.
with the team he was drafted by. I'm sorry.
That was original team. With their original team.
Yeah, implied. I guess I should have just
I was going to say, I remember seeing something about that.
Yeah, so mind blown, I guess.
So, and there's been a lot of, Carson Wentz is an old shoe. I'm trying to be PG about this. But, there's a lot of bad things being said about Carson Wentz. He was not very good last season, even when he was healthy and he did play. So... I get
catastrophic. I think that's why we're talking about it. He was so bad. Yeah,
I get why people are down on him, and it was probably if he can bounce back to what he was in 2018 and 2019, the Colts got a deal. They got a great deal. That's like they one of the things that this team really, really, really needs is a quarterback. Ever since Andrew Luck retired, they've been kind of having their butts hanging out in the wind. So here's the thing that I was when I was looking up Carson Wentz and everything in 2019, and this leads to our episode coming up that we're going to record here in a little bit. Was that in 2019, PFF had the Eagles' offensive line ranked as their number 1 offensive line, right?
Yep.
And in 2019, arguably one of Carson Wentz's best career years. He threw for just over 4,000 yards. He had almost a 64% completion percentage. 27 touchdowns, not great, but still not his best ever either.
And that 64% was improved, meaning that was one thing we were worried about. One thing we were worried about coming in is big arm, no accuracy type of player, And
in 2018,
64% is great for him.
In 2018, he had almost 70%. So
okay.
I also believe in 2019 he was also dealing with a not very good receiving core, And the Colts receiving core isn't the greatest either. I don't understand why everyone says that they have wide receivers. Yeah, they have T.Y. Hilton. Technically, they don't, because I don't think he's under contract at the moment.
I don't think so either.
But they have Michael Pittman, whatever.
We hope so, but hey, that's nothing right now.
But getting Wentz and everything, they could go out and make a stab at, like a Tyrell Williams or an Allen Robinson. Or, any of those bigger name wide receivers that are out there.
Maybe they're not done. I mean, you said it a couple of times. They're not paying a quarterback. Okay, yes, now they are. But I'm sure some of that money was eaten by Philly, I would think. So they're still still getting a discounted starting quarterback.
According to this ESPN article, the Eagles are taking the largest the dead cap hit in history at $33.8 million.
Wow. Ooh. I can't lie. I'm kind of happy about that, but that's my bias coming through there.
Still paying for that Super Bowl. Still paying for it.
Yeah, I mean that's the argument. Is it worth it? I would probably say yeah, but I'm a suffering Dallas fan of 22, 25 years, whatever it is now. there's other franchises who have never won one, so which was Philly until then. So, man, it probably is still worth it, But I bet they don't. Not saying that right now.
So with Wentz, I think that's going to take off some. If he returns to form, we'll call it 2020 just a bad year. I mean, the Eagles' offensive line was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah.
Probably it didn't make PFF's bottom 5 in terms of offensive lines, but I think they're one of the worst. They were so banged up. They were so injury riddled, and even when the players were healthy, they weren't playing at their peak. So I think that this is going to help Wentz going behind this offensive line, assuming the Colts can grab a left tackle, whether in free agency or the draft, and plug him in there to replace Antonio Costanzo.
Thank you.
Anthony Costanzo. Anyways, yeah, I mean it's good for the Colts. It's gonna help Pittman. It's gonna help their tight ends. I can see them still rolling with 2 tight ends a lot. I mean, that's kind of what Frank Reich wants to do anyways.
And I feel like Ebron's there for another year, and Doyle. Oh, I'm sorry. No, they went with kid that came from Philly.
Trey Burton.
Thank you.
Trey Burton. And they didn't get him from Philly. They got him from the Bears, actually. So
and they played together, right?
But yeah, I mean, I don't want the Colts to go out and get Zach Ertz either. I'm like, I'm done with acquiring the Eagles
leftovers. Yeah,
stop it.
Yeah,
please stop.
But I think it's important to. And you mentioned it. The 2 things I want to focus on are the O-line, as you mentioned, and coaching, as you also mentioned. Like, I am of the school of thought, off the top of my head, that I dislike Wentz. It's kind of a Cowboys fan thing. There was a lot of comparisons between him and Dak, but we talked about this, like we said off air a moment ago, probably a couple weeks ago, and we speculated about this move. I mean, I'm not saying both me and you were like, this is definitely going to happen, but we were definitely speculating about this and other places. And I have to go with kind of the prevailing logic of Wentz was a high pick. I'm not saying he is the answer, but I have to kind of believe in the franchise here. So Wentz had to deal with when he had a good offensive line, he looked pretty darn good. He was MVP discussion, and then got hurt, Foles Super Bowl run, everything, etc. And when he didn't have a good offensive line, when he had a horrible offensive line, he played horribly. You could even tie into the defense probably on those years, that's fluctuated. Hey, and there's nothing that's stopping the Colts defensive performance and offensive line performance fluctuating to next year, because they were really good this past year. But I think they put a good organization together in terms of Reich and the Andy Reid tree coming from Philly, coming from that coaching staff, and I believe in their personnel decisions, and I think you can get something out of Wentz, as you said, with a better running attack, offensive line, and obviously a defense. I think I mentioned something about so that's all I've got. I more or less agree with you. I think it's a good move for both parties. Other than that, I'm in a waiting pattern. Wait and see if we were right all along that he is that good, or the opposite. Kind of like with Jameis.
Yep,
another
we'll
very,
see.
Very high pick that
we'll see
fizzled.
But this is, I don't know. I don't see this being a bad move for the Colts. So,
probably not.
That's about all I got on Wentz here. So just keep listening to our jump players, and that's it. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Hey everyone, this is Amazing Fantasy Football. I am Josh, and he is
Chris.
And how you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing great. I love Sunday afternoons because we get to talk about fantasy football and record the show.
Yeah. So my washer broke yesterday. That was a real bummer. And I have a work order in, and hopefully it gets fixed soon.
That stinks.
One thing so I've been, as I'm getting older, and you're even more older than I am.
This is true.
I've been thinking a lot about, what would my last words be? My dying words.
Your washer? What did you think about this?
Yeah, a little bit. What would your dying words be? Would it be like, would you tell your wife that you love her? You tell your daughters that you love them, something like that.
Yeah, probably. Probably. It would be my kids, probably. My family, my wife and kids.
I've settled on what my dying words would be. My last words that I ever utter right before I die are going to be, "The treasure is buried in." Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what my dying words are going to be.
Isn't that a line from a movie?
It probably is, but I don't know. Oh, that's from Monty Python and the Quest for Holy Grail.
I almost said Spaceballs. I was kind of in the right genre.
He wouldn't bother writing. He's like, that's what it says right there. Anyways, no, I just thought that was like, it would be completely hilarious. They'd be like, wait, what did he say? The treasure is buried where? And he's like, he didn't say. He just died. And you're like, that's pretty typical of Josh. He wouldn't actually tell us.
Yeah.
Even if there was treasure, he wouldn't tell us. I'm like, yeah, pretty much.
Could start off a whole, and then what type of treasure? What kind of treasure? Is it monetary value? Yeah. Is it like some secret code? We could make a whole series of movies on it, like Tom Hanks did about the Da Vinci Code. Just go off on Josh's map.
Those movies are like the books, are awful.
Oh yeah, first one was good, but I think certain things can be overdone, and it was definitely overdone.
I can't believe you made so many of them. It's so weird. Anyways,
I think they had to make a Transformers movie for every Da Vinci Code movie they made because it was just awful.
There's some kind of agreement that if you're going to make a Da Vinci Code movie, you have to make a Transformers movie,
yep.
Or vice versa.
7 movies later, they're like, "Oh, we're billionaires." I don't.
And then eventually, there's a crossover with Transformers and Da Vinci
exactly.
Code.
It's in the code. Cybertron.
It leads them to like Megatron's corpse.
And the Allspark, yeah. And the Holy Grail with a pyramid eyeball thing. I don't even know. And Masons. There's always Masons involved.
Yeah, the Illuminati and Starscream and yeah.
It's all connected.
Anyway, so we're Amazing Fantasy Football. We're here to talk about some our last dying words. Anyways, today we're going to talk about some jump players. We're going to talk about some players that could make the jump. You know, like that crisscross song back in. We're so old, man. We're so freaking old.
It was a big deal. My name's Chris. It was kind of a big deal. Junior high.
I didn't even think about that.
That feels right. Yeah, it was.
You were in junior high. Oh man, I was in like first grade.
I guessed. I what year? It had been the 90s.
91?
I feel like it was the first half of the 90s. I'm with you there.
Oh, it was definitely the first half of the 90s. And then they had their pants on backwards and everything.
I might have been in high school, dude, actually.
Oh, wow. You're significantly older than I am.
Yeah.
Anyway. So we're going to talk about some players that we just got done doing our tight end episode last week.
Top 12.
And so we've gone through quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, the top players at all those positions. And so this episode, we're going to talk about some players that we didn't talk about in those previous ones that could potentially, like quarterbacks could make it in the top 12 next year, running back and wide receiver that could make it in the top 24, and tight ends that could make it in the top 12. Mm-hmm. So, and we gave some guys out at the end of each show, but I just kind of wanted to go a little bit deeper with some names. And some of the guys that I'm going to talk about are, I don't know if they're going to actually do it, but they definitely could. And one of them for sure, my tight end, is like, it's a long shot, but I just wanted to bring him up. So
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, it's all speculation, so that's all we're doing. So
yeah, there's a speculation heavy episode.
If I told you that, Cole Kmet was going to be a top 12 tight end next year, and it was a fact, I'd be like Jesus or something.
Nostradamus.
Thank you. Who also might have been Jesus, but he just decided to call himself Nostradamus. Flying under the radar.
Both pretty cool names, I must say. Both have a real great sound to them.
Yeah, like how people who speak Spanish, the name Jesus is used a lot, and people from the that are predominantly Muslim use the word I work with like 3 different Muhammads, But yet, a lot of American people, they don't call their children Jesus.
No. In fact, I think they would consider it offensive if I had to guess. I wouldn't do it, but yeah, you're right. That is.
Would you rather call your son Jesus or Stalin?
I'm gonna go
exactly.
Jesus for sure.
Probably Jesus, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Go with the good guy versus the guy that was arguably worse than Hitler.
Like the good guy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, when you put it that way, sign me up.
Yeah, that's what you'll name your son, Jesus. We've come to it.
Yep. Except I'm not going to have a son, but hey, okay.
Well, I mean, his middle name could be not the second coming.
Not the second coming, just to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, just so everyone knows. And then you're going to have to change it when it's revealed that he is. So, anyways, it's very complex. So we're talking about some jump players, and why don't you get us started, Chris? I know you have a lot of love for this. You have a lot of love for our first guy here, and I have hopes that he does well, but I don't have as much love. So why don't you get us kicked off here with
Tua Tagovailoa? I think I nailed it.
You missed it.
Tagovailoa.
There's an N. Almost like a vowel that you. There's an N in there that you don't. That is not written out.
Oh,
Tagovailoa.
So I also was messing up the Vailoa part. That's almost like a violin. Vailoa.
Yeah, kind of.
Tagovailoa. Okay. Well, I'm working on it, folks. We'll have it good by August, let's say. But I am
probably not.
I like the potential I see. I know he didn't take the world by storm like a Joe Burrow or a Herbert or even Kyler. A similar typecast player in terms of mobility and arm talent. Well, I mean, similar vein is all I'm saying. We're not talking Kyler. Don't get me started with that. How my love for Kyler. No, this more or less plays into me believing in the direction the Dolphins have taken with their personnel and front office. I like what I see. That'll have a theme in this episode and kind of going back to the tight ends last episode with Gasecki. I would like to see improvement at wide receiver, but I think there's value in this offense, and in particular in Gasecki and Tua in Superflex leagues. For Tua, that is. Tua has wheels, and that will help as he improves as a passer. It will help him both buy time physically and literally, figuratively, I'm sorry, as he keeps your fantasy team kind of afloat with the rushing statistics, but also I think he is a talented passer, but he has to improve there. I recognize that too. So he's my guy as far as could make the jump next year. If we go back to our quarterback episode, that seems like forever ago now. We could probably think of a couple names right off the bat that we don't think will make the top 12 list. Therefore, Tua is as good of guess, I guess you could say, as any other young and upcomer. So I'm high on him. Yeah, I think it's part of this offense, and it goes right into with Gasecki and another guy I'll mention later in this show.
So who do you think would make it in the quarterbacks? I mean, maybe Kirk Cousins, and then Tua slips in.
Cousins is one that comes off the top of my head. I might even have those slides here, but
maybe Tannehill or Brady.
Yeah, I agree with all three of those actually. And you know me, I like Tannehill, so that's that's me recognizing that he's in that anywhere from 8 to falling off the top 12 range, right? That
picture I found from Matt Ryan, it still gets me.
I thought you might be looking back at him. That's good.
Yeah, I was.
But no, that's Tua in a nutshell for me. As I said, this is a speculation heavy episode. I did like what I saw I know eyeball test can be misleading, but I like what I saw on the field, and I think he's got the tools, and I think he's got the organization behind him. So
cool. My guy is actually Matt Stafford. And if anyone listening right now is newsflash, Matthew Stafford has been traded to the Rams and Goff went to the Lions. I gotta start out by saying that if you're listening to us via podcast, there's a picture of Matt Stafford with his hat on backwards, which is what I was looking for, because that's how I picture him in my brain, of him wearing his hat backwards, throwing passes. Apparently, it's a really hard thing to find, of a picture of him wearing his hat backwards.
Okay.
Weird.
That's weird.
Anyways, So right now, let me actually get serious here. He missed the top 12 by 23 points this year. 23 points. That's not a lot. That's one game, more or less, of production. So it's a bit of a cheat, but and he's only missed 27 out of a possible 192 starts in his career. That's not bad at all. Like, yeah, the guy's been really banged up the last couple of years,
but he's tough as nails.
But he's real tough, and 2018 was the only season he didn't hit 4,000 yards when he played all 16 games.
Almost a lock for 4,000 yards.
Even when
before it was cool, he was throwing for 4,000 yards.
Yeah, I mean, there was that one season when what was it? Brady and Breeze both broke 5,000 yards in the same season, first time ever, and Stafford missed it by like 9 yards. So yeah, the guy's going to throw a ton. Maybe not with the Rams. I think the Rams are looking for a more balanced attack, but it's hard to say. It's really hard to say what's going to happen here with the Rams. And also, this is going to make me sound like I'm a Rams fan too.
Yeah.
But anyways, I mean, listen to how Stafford has finished the last who knows how many years. 2014, 9th overall. 2015, 9th. 2016, 9th. 2017, 8th. And then we get into some injury years with 20th and 2018. He missed half the season. 2019, he finishes 29th, which I believe was also because of injury or something. I don't remember why. And then this past year, he was 14th. So with a banged up receiving core too. So I mean, he's making a move to LA to arguably one of the best receiving cores he's had in his career
ever. Arguably one of the best receiving cores in the NFL.
I mean, he had Megatron, like.
To be fair,
I don't know. Like you put Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp together, you might get Megatron.
That's a good point. Yeah, I guess I'm discounting their.
It's just like as far as a plethora of options, he's going to have Kupp, he's going to have Woods, he's going to have the two tight ends there, Gerald Everett and Fish Sticks. I just lost his name.
You just made me forget it when you opened your mouth.
No,
I want to say Thornhill, but I know that's not right.
Thornhill.
I know, it's so weird.
What is he, a Batman villain?
I got
anyways, I don't know, man. The only question I have,
something like that. It's Higbee or something.
Yeah, Tyler Higbee. Thank you. The only question I have about Matt Stafford not making being a top 10, a top 12 quarterback next season is maybe that offensive line. PFF has ranked the LA Rams offensive line in 2020 at third best. And I thought it was like a bunch of really old offensive linemen that they were just kind of having one last hurrah. Other than Andrew Whitworth, they're all really young. So
nice. Okay. So they've invested a bit.
I'm guessing that they're probably going to end up doing something either in free agency or the draft to maybe make sure that Whitworth they have a replacement for him, because if he goes down, I mean, this guy's been a Pro Bowler.
That's such an important position. Yeah,
at left tackle, I believe he plays.
Yeah, if he can still get backpedal quick enough to get in that passing stance, then they'll be fine. But if he loses,
he's 39, dude.
Yeah,
he's 39. I was like, whoa, he has got some gray beard. I'm 3 years away from that number, a little less than almost a little more than 2 actually. I hope I don't have as much gray in my beard that he does. Holy man.
I kind of feel like I just need to get more gray just so it stops looking so mismatched. Anyway, go ahead.
It's like me losing my hair. Either grow back or go away faster. I don't care which. Go one way or the other. You're going too slow here, hair loss. Yeah, so like I said, offensive line is the only question. Are we going to see the 2019 Rams offensive line, which was not good at all, or the 2021, which was third best according to PFF? That's. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that the Rams are going to try and run the ball this next year as they did this past season. We'll see.
I think they absolutely leaned on their defense and their running game this past season because of Goff. I mean, I think
they were very scared.
I think he showed his true colors, and we talked about it. It might have been off air about how it was just I was a little more on the positive side of the fence on him coming off that nice year, even though he kind of played real bad in the Super Bowl, didn't he?
I was too, but I just
it ended up the haters ended up being right, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Now we'll see what happens in Detroit, but Stafford.
I wish the best for him in Detroit, but he's gonna have a rough road in Detroit because they don't have a lot of receiving weapons up there at the moment. So
we don't like him moving forward. But Stafford, I'm excited, man. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. What's your next guy? Oh, that's right. It's Cooper Kupp.
Yep. How convenient.
That's what we call a nice transition right there.
Transition,
from Stafford
folks.
To Kupp. I love this picture because I found that he's wearing a mask.
There you go. Promoting safety and health. Yeah, so I've got Cooper Kupp here as a my jump receiver going to next year. Again, I think this came up maybe last show for my honorable mention. A little bit of a low-hanging fruit, but also, we do have question marks. It's a new quarterback. But as me and Josh just kind of said, we feel great about the change at the quarterback position, and it's going to help Cooper Kupp a lot. I expect to see similar numbers like we saw in 2019 when both Kupp and Woods had great seasons and Goff was uncharacteristically efficient. They run the run game you touched on with Cam Akers will be, that's not the right order. Sorry about that. The run game will be a big part of it because we will see a ton of play action like we saw with Goff in 2019 with Gurley, keeping offenses honest with a great running attack. I'm not saying Akers is Gurley, but I'm saying schematically that the Rams want to use play action. The Rams want to use misdirection and motion and incorporate into both the run and the pass. That big offensive year they had, we got to remember they had a darn near an MVP running back in Todd Gurley. I don't know how many yards he put up, but it seemed like it was over 2,000 scrimmage yards.
Well, and here's the thing too, is that, if you take Cooper Kupp 2019, which is definitely his best season, he only had 2 less receptions than this year. He had 10 more targets, but only 2 less receptions. The problem is that he had 200 less yards and seven less touchdowns.
Yeah,
this year compared to 2019.
Yep.
So you get Stafford in there, and he's going to get closer back. He's going to get back closer to that 10 touchdown mark, I think,
and more opportunities,
and over 1,000 yards.
Oh, for sure. I think I could almost
he barely missed 1,000 this season, but he's. Yeah, you can call it low hanging fruit, but at the same time, it's a name worth bringing up.
We only have so many shows, so many minutes, so much time. It's important to mention.
It's a player to not forget about.
And I think it's just another great example. I feel like I keep coming back to this throughout our shows. Just offensive talent raising everybody else's productivity, because obviously the most important position on the field, quarterback. It's not like the Rams were, a nobody on offense. So you upgrade that quarterback position. I see both receivers playing at a Pro Bowl level. I think this young running back and Cam Akers is going to play really well. Offensive line suddenly looks better. It all it's the ultimate team game, So I'm excited about the Rams offense next year.
Yeah, me too. It's the only problem, and I didn't bring this up with Stafford, but the only problem too that might give Stafford some problems of hitting the top 12 and quarterbacks is that it's a rough division. You're going to have to go up against the Cardinals defense isn't terrible. The 49ers defense is pretty darn good itself, and the Seahawks defense.
Luckily, it
looked like it was improving as last season went along. It still wasn't good, but
fair.
It was getting better.
But at least Stafford has the best defensive player in the league on his side. So, some might argue a couple of the best defensive players in the league, and Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. So,
yeah, for sure.
Just having Aaron Donald on your side is just. Man, that good dude. Anyway, this is a defense show.
That's why Stafford wanted to go to the Rams. He's like, I don't ever want to face off against Aaron Donald in a game.
Again, ultimate team game, man. It takes all these parts moving. I hate it when one player gets too much credit or blame, or one facet of the game. Defense plays huge into fantasy when you want more offensive opportunities. Get your offense back on the field. Get Stafford some opportunities.
Yep. All right. My guy that I'm hoping to make a jump is Christian Kirk. We are flying right through these guys, man. Christian Kirk, you might know him as the number 2 wide receiver, the redheaded stepchild in Arizona. He's the problem with Christian Kirk is that he's always going to be playing second fiddle to DeAndre Hopkins outside of injury, of course.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real problem. It is, but as you saw on our list, what was it, 3 weeks ago, 2 and 3 weeks ago, is that there were a bunch of wide receiver twos, especially in the second half of the top 24 on there. There's not a reason why Christian Kirk can't be a wide receiver two, a top 24 guy. Between weeks 4 and 9 this past season, he averaged 16.32 points. Like, yeah, there was a bye week in there too, so it's really only 4 games. But you get that, and then you go forward a couple of weeks, and then Kyler's had some sort of mysterious shoulder injury that they didn't come out and say. They're like, oh, he's fine. The guy didn't look good. So I think that kind of hindered Christian Kirk a little bit. He does some special teams work. So if you're in a league that rewards you for guys that get special teams work, he had 152 punt return yards. That's not a lot, but hey, that's still an extra 15 points right there, and in Yahoo's scoring at least. He's had some problems staying on the field. So as far as he missed a couple of games this past season.
I think they were also a little extra careful with him. I think they could have put him in a little sooner, just to throw that out there. But go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that if Kyler Murray is going to be as good as this guy right here thinks he's going to, that's not me. I'm pointing at Chris. Why can't? I mean, he's going to need someone other than DeAndre Hopkins to catch a bunch of balls. It's
a high volume offense, very high volume.
Exactly,
offense. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Why can't it be Christian Kirk? I'm definitely going to be targeting him in some drafts this coming year. I don't want him to be my wide receiver 2 by any stretch. But
you're not trying to pay a premium to get him. But me and you both are on him. We'll see how the cards fall in our drafts, in our common drafts. Yeah,
for sure. His catch rate isn't the greatest either. It's only a career of what was it, 62.59%, I think is what I came up with, or maybe that was this past season. That's not great.
That's not great.
It's not terrible either.
No, if he got out of the 60s, I'd be really worried. But no, that's fine. That's nothing.
Yeah, and if memory serves correct too, is that he was getting some deeper balls too.
He's a bit of a speedster.
He's not that fast though. It's 4.47.
Oh, okay.
It's not elite. Yeah. And to use that popular argument for a wide receiver or any fantasy player, it's his contract year.
All right.
It's a contract year. That means that he is going to be the next Calvin Johnson. I'm making fun of it. I'm making fun of it because so many people use that as he's going to be so good this year. You know why? Because he's playing for a new contract. Well, yeah, he is. He's also been playing for a new contract the last 3 years. Too.
Yeah, you're always putting yourself out there as your body of work, if you will. What have you done for me lately? What's your body work look like? How much are you worth, so to speak?
It is going into its 4th season too. So that's that's probably
it's big money payday, especially when you consider the average length.
That's probably the better argument in the sense that he could be growing as a player.
Legitimately, not just
Yeah, he's not as good as he's not as good. His numbers weren't as good this past year as they were the year before. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say that he would have been a top 12 wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
But if the Cardinals wouldn't have acquired DeAndre Hopkins, I bet he would have easily been a top 24.
Well, and again, just a better catch rate, growing as a talent. Yeah, you could see those numbers definitely kind of, I guess you could say, flip-flop. 79 targets isn't awful.
In 2019 with DeAndre Hopkins, without DeAndre Hopkins, he had 109 targets from Kyler. So
thank you. Exactly. Yeah. We both like this guy.
I would love to see his targets get up closer, around 90. That's for sure, and maybe get those catches up.
Become a little bit more of a volume player in a volume offense. Get more of a PPR receiver because they do like him underneath. Mm-hmm. That's where they use his 4.4 speed, if you will.
All right. Well, what's your next guy?
Oh, Running backs. So I've got Mr. Myles Gaskin, another one of my favorite guys, as I alluded to earlier.
I would like to preface this with the fact that Aaron Jones is probably going to the Dolphins, and Myles Gaskin will be an afterthought.
Speculation, folks. Speculation.
It's all speculation. I'm just doing it to ruffle Chris's feathers.
Yeah, this is my dude. A diamond in the rough I uncovered. Not gonna lie, it has a little bit to do with my Dolphins love. When you find a dude, when you find a player, especially a position of much need at running back, and situation is always a huge part of it, especially at running back. Again, I can't reiterate that enough. But again, I like the front office and the personnel decisions. Therefore, I like the offensive pieces around Gaskin, including the quarterback and the O-line. Second year Tua is going to raise that bar for offensive talent and hopefully fantasy production. Defense isn't bad either, and I can see Gaskin putting games away for the Dolphins in 2021, and he could still be a value. Could still be a value in ADP, because let's not overgloss it. He didn't take the league by storm. He was kind of mediocre there for a while. Me and you were kind of back and forth with him, and it was great content. And
no.
Sorry.
You were not back and forth. You were fully on. I was back and forth, and every time I swung one way, he pivoted and went the other,
and played real well. Yeah.
By the time I got on to Gaskin, that's when he had a really bad game, and I was like, I told you. And then he had a really good game, and then you were like, I told you.
And I think he cemented some of that question marks towards the end of the year there. He looked real good. Numbers bear that out. Now, he's not going to be your 90% snap share guy at the end of the day, because he is a little slight, if you will. He's not the biggest dude. I don't have his. There you go, 5'9". He's pretty rocked up, but you know,
because you were going to bring it up.
Yeah, I don't think he's built like an Austin Eckler is who he reminds me of. Little heavier. No. Yeah, he's not as fast, but build wise. So I think that's important. But I think he is better. He is still a very accomplished runner between the tackles, off tackle, and he's a fine receiver. He's good enough. Nothing crazy there. So I've been in love with him since he came in the league and kind of found that diamond in the rough, and that has to do with kind of my overall opinion of what we're going to see out of Miami in 2021. Mm-hmm. And Gaskin is a perfect example of that. So keep an eye out for him to jump into the top 24 next year.
What would you say his 40 time was?
To be honest, it might be creeping into the 4.5s. I'll go for 4.9.
4.58.
Ooh. Yeah. I knew he wasn't very fast.
Let's
put that in perspective, folks. That's what I literally said.
Let's put this in perspective.
4.5 is kind of an important mark, though, for a running back, I think.
Let's put this in perspective. I can run a 4.51.
You can run a 4.51?
Yeah.
No, you cannot.
No, not at all.
I was like, either Josh is.
Dude, I'd be lucky to break
very deceivingly fast, or he doesn't understand what a 4.5 is, or 4.9 or whatever, 4.51. Oh, you had me for a second. Not that I thought you could do it, but you had me thinking you thought that you could. But that's all. That's my Gaskin love, I guess, there for you. Again, speculation heavy episode, folks, but I think we saw plenty last year out of him that shows us that he's going to be on the radar next year.
So I was joking with Chris at first about the Dolphins getting Aaron Jones. He would be perfect for what the Dolphins look.
And I did acknowledge
what the Dolphins did in 2020. It looks like a perfect role for Aaron Jones. I mean, just a guy throwing one guy out, more or less one guy out there, and being able to do everything. You know, I don't think they want to rotate guys in and out or anything like that. They want a running back out there to run the ball, catch the ball, block, whatever. Aaron Jones can do all of this. I know Chris isn't a big fan of spending money on running backs, but if you're going to really stick with Tua, you have him for more or less free for another at least 2 years, if not 3. Mm-hmm. And why not spend that money elsewhere on a guy like Aaron Jones? Give him a veteran running back presence. That I just I'm not trying to throw shade on Myles Gaskin. Definitely had
to be clear, folks at home. The discussion was more like obviously conceded that Jones is the better player. That wasn't what it was, and I also conceded that if we're talking like a 2 or 3 year deal that I can get out from under, I am all aboard trying to win with a guy like Aaron Jones in Miami right now. I think at the end of the day, the team themselves are going to go the bargain route, and they're going to stay with Gaskin. And you named,
probably.
and I also think you named what was that one you named a destination for Jones that I thought was an even better one?
The Atlanta Falcons.
Falcons, and I like that one better for all parties involved. But yeah, no, Miami
you like it better just so Myles Gaskin is the running back. And
guilty. Absolutely.
All right, man. Who's my next guy here? Oh yeah, backs. I was going to talk about Cam Akers.
Yeah, kind of let that
I said
cat earlier, out of the bag a little bit earlier.
I'm not a Rams fan. I'm a Matthew Stafford fan. But I like what I saw from Cam Akers towards the end of the season this past season. Not to say season too many times there. My seasoning.
To be clear, both of our tight ends, neither is an LA Ram or a Miami Dolphin.
Oh my god, it would have been so great.
Bit of a pattern developing here.
The Rams and the Dolphins this show.
Yeah,
why not?
When I upload the episode, I'm just going to change the title too.
So,
yeah.
Not jump players, just Rams Dolphins.
Rams Dolphins Outlook 2021.
So on the season as a whole, Cam Akers, he played in only 38.1% of the snaps. But in weeks 13, 14, 15, and 17, because he randomly missed 16 for some reason, he played in 61% of the snaps for the Rams. This is not due really to any sort of injury either. I thought Darrell Henderson got hurt, but he, according to Football Guys and what they had on their site, that he actually got a percentage of snaps towards the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the Rams spent a second round pick on this guy. He's got 4.47 speed, so he is definitely going to beat Myles Gaskin in a foot race.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the greatest speed, but it's definitely not slow either. I like, if you see in this picture here, like he really reminds me of Zeke. You put a different helmet on him, and I'd be like, dude, that's Ezekiel Elliott.
Especially if memory were, is it second year Zeke or rookie year Zeke or somewhere in his first 2 or 3 years, one or two of those years he was in phenomenal physical shape. The other couple of years, not so much. But I see where you're going. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just all like he really had a hard time breaking through the muddy waters of the Rams running back depth chart. But I think, like we've talked about in previous episodes, is that everyone thought the rookie wide receivers are going to have problems breaking through this season because of a very limited offseason due to COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really the rookie running backs that had problems getting going. Like pretty much all of them were just, they weren't very good to start. I mean,
no.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor had a pretty good week 1 and 2, but they weren't phenomenal. But listen to this though. So in the final 4 weeks so it would be weeks 13, 14, 15, and 17 that Cam Akers played, and the 2 playoff games that the Rams played in this past season.
Okay.
Cam Akers had 561 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Dang.
561 yards
total
in 6
again?
games.
4?
6 weeks.
Oh, okay. Still almost 100 yards per game.
4 regular season, 2 playoffs. That's not bad at all.
No.
That is not bad at all.
I mean, I know they had their ups and downs, but again, Goff was in town.
And
so
Stafford's I think he's only going to help them. Yeah, it's probably going to be a little less of a workload because Stafford's there they can trust Stafford to go out and make throws.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they said they wanted to get Cam Akers involved, and they did. And once they finally got going, and I think that offensive line was, like I mentioned in last week's episode, is that they have one dinosaur guy. It's Andrew Whitworth, and then they have a bunch of really young. They're all in their like mid to late 20s.
Have their whole careers ahead of them,
I think that the rest of that line really started gelling, and it really helped Cam Akers. Maybe he just kind of saw the game sped up for him a little bit, or slowed down for him a little bit.
Correct, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think Cam Akers is the one it's going to be the what is it? How do you say that phrase?
Okay.
The cream that rises to the top, or something like that.
Got you. Okay. The talent rises to the top. The cream rises to the top. Yeah.
I just don't think that Malcolm Brown is really all that talented because he's
not.
I
was hoping you're going to talk about Henderson here in a second.
And Henderson is, while he's fast, he's really small. And I think Henderson is more of the change of pace guy. I
like Henderson's running style. I definitely kind of fell into that trap of thinking he might be the guy. I think it's a testament to how good Akers is and how they wanted Akers to be the guy all along.
I can definitely see in the 2021 season a nice timeshare of probably 55 to 65% Cam Akers, 25% Darrell Henderson, and then a sprinkling of Malcolm Brown in there too. If even Malcolm Brown's still around,
I would tend to agree. I think
Malcolm Brown hangs out because he's still on his rookie deal, and I'm almost positive. And when you have 3 running backs all on rookie deals, why not keep them around? Because they're more or less free.
They're cheap. They're cheap.
Yep.
Cheap miles to put on the tires. Yeah, and I think they've shown with Gurley, granted Gurley, as far as talent goes, is, we got to understand he's an all-pro player and was with the Rams for that 1 year at least. But they would rather stick with one guy. But on the other hand, they're also a team that's willing to load manage and get through the season because they understand how important the running game is. However, I think they want Swift to tote the load. That the majority. Swift, I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad.
Akers?
No, Akers. Too many Detroit Lions and Rams going on in this episode. Akers with the Rams. Cool. They want him to be the guy. I agree with you.
I think maybe they did see that they really beat the tar out of Todd Gurley, and maybe they want to be like, well, maybe we shouldn't do that to any one guy. Maybe kind of spread the work out a little.
That's better said. That's a good way to put it. That's exactly kind of what I mean. Yeah, they learned their lesson, but at the same time, if the guy's got fresher legs.
If the guy's good, they're not going to take him out.
Yeah,
if he's running well and he's running hard, then they're probably not going to take him off the field just because it's like, well, we can't have him getting too many carries. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's our running backs that we wanted to talk about. I wanted this episode to really kind of focus a little bit more on like a particular guy instead of a large group of guys. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. We'll have other episodes where we can hammer down on other guys. No, I think this is good stuff. Jump players. We're on to the next one.
Yeah, what's your tight end there?
My tight end is Mr. Dallas
I don't remember. Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting that. I like this picture of him.
Mm-hmm. It's a great picture, great image. I've been a fan of his since he came into the league. Ironically, there was this BS about the Cowboys wanted him and Eagles snatched him. That was never the case. I can't remember which player the Cowboys ended up with. One of the really good linebackers, which at the time looked like a great decision.
I think the Cowboys probably did want him, but they didn't want him enough to like trade up and be like,
I think they had other options. Let's put it that way. They weren't like falling over themselves to trade up for a tight end. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, they weren't.
I think they were set with taking. It might have been Van Der Esch. Oh, it might have been the other linebacker from Notre Dame, Jalen Smith. Anyway, that's not who we're talking about today. It was one of those two guys, I'm pretty sure, who ended up being the pick. I chose this guy on this show. No, it's before the Ertz news broke. I say Ertz news, Ertz rumors. Yesterday, there was a blurb, something about he's preparing for an exit, be it trade or free agents or cut. So I think the new staff is wanting to kind of out with the old, in with the new. And I've always kind of thought Goedert was the better football player. There, I said it. I think Ertz is a great receiver. I get it. But and I don't mean to be Mr. Old School and be like, he's a better all-around tight end, but I also think Goedert has something more to offer in the red zone, and Ertz has always shown he's been a little lacking in that area. He's always been Mr. PPR, Ertz has been. So I like Goedert. I think we see an emphasis on Goedert moving forward. There's something to be said for an elite red zone player, which is exactly what I think he is, despite his 3 touchdowns. I believe that's exactly what he's gonna show us. There's also something to be said for getting rid of Carson Wentz as your quarterback, and that's exactly what the Eagles are trying to do, right, Josh? So just again, I'm not Mr. I'm sorry, what's the quarterback? Hurd with a D, Jalen Hurd. I'm not Hurts with
Hurts.
TS. Thank you. Okay, Hurts. I apologize. Not a huge Hurts fan, but Nor is there any love lost between me and the Eagles, but I think this is a really good football player. I think you'll see him featured in the red zone. I think they're a little thin at receiver, so they're going to have to use his talents. And with Ertz very likely on his way out of town, I definitely like this guy to jump into the top 12 tight ends.
Ooh, excuse me. You were wrong about who the Cowboys drafted.
Oh.
Would you care to take another stab at it?
I was wrong with both my guesses?
Yes.
Oh.
One more shot. Real quick.
Then I'm going to go with Travis Frederick.
It was Connor Williams.
Out
of Texas.
Not so good. No, I was done with Goedert. Just like I said, that little jab there at the Colts trying to get Carson Wentz. That was all. But also the legit rumor news that it looks like Ertz might be on his way out. That's most important, obviously, for opportunity.
I think they're trying to do that to shed cap space.
That too. Yeah, they I saw a Philly fan on like Twitter saying they signed a deal with the devil to get that Super Bowl in 2017.
Oh yeah, they're still paying for it.
Yeah. That's the general consensus.
I mean, they and sometimes that's what teams do. That's what the Patriots did for a long time with Brady, and then it got to a point.
It worked at times,
and it worked. But I mean, they're paying the piper now with Brady's contract because they still owe Brady money, or Brady's contract the way it was like.
They kept pushing money to the back end, basically.
And they're still paying for it this coming season as well.
Yep,
the Patriots, that is. So serves him right. I think Brady knew that, and he decided to take his pick the right time to stick it to that team.
No, it's actually not South Beach. That's Miami. Tampa is like, I don't know.
It's not South.
I'm pretty sure it's not South. I thought
the west side of Florida was the old people side, and the east side was the young people side.
I don't know. I just know that's what LeBron said. He said it's taking talents to South Beach, which is Miami.
Yeah. Dude, anyway. that whole decision thing was. I know he raised money for his charity and everything. And
I've heard he regrets it now. At least he's.
He should have too. And you know what's really bad about it too is that like hours before it got leaked that he was going to the Heat. So it's just
Cleveland fans just losing their minds.
Well, I mean, it's fine that you did that the decision thing, and like ESPN paid him money, and he gave all that money to charity, which is very nice of him. Right,
it still left a sour taste.
But the manner of how it was done was not.
It was a bad PR play. He realized it in the coming years.
And I still to this day do not like LeBron James because of it. For real.
Yeah, I respect his game. I respect his place in history.
No, he's a good player. I just don't like him.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Like Kobe,
I don't really care. Because other players do it all the time now.
I didn't like you as a player. Anyways, we got one more player to talk about. And this sounds, and like I said in last week's episode, but this is a real bit of a stretch here, but I really like Cole Kmet next year. Now, he only scored 48 fantasy points. I know.
It's perfect for a show like this. Perfect.
He just got done with his rookie season. Rookie tight ends historically usually don't do much at all. The one thing that Cole Kmet was doing well, or the one thing that I really liked about him, is that from week 10 on, he was on the field for at least 70% of the snaps. And in some weeks, and one of those weeks too, he was on the field. He didn't leave the field once he was on it, other than obviously for defense. Because he's a tight end and doesn't play defense. But I mean, like that kind of snap percentage, and in the last 4 weeks, I have written down here too, is that he was on the field for 85% of the snaps. So, and I know the Bears really like him, and I know he was a very highly touted pre-draft draft pick for NFL draft pick. That is
USC maybe. I'm guessing.
Don't remember. But so if Allen Robinson does leave, that's going to definitely vacate like 140 some targets. I don't remember how many Allen Robinson had. I know they really like Darnell Mooney. They're definitely trying to get him going too. But I really like Cole Kmet. I don't know if he makes the top 12 this next season, but I think there might be weeks where he's definitely fantasy startable. He's going to have to compete with Jimmy Graham as well. I will give you that. But if the Bears decide to commit to another year of Mitch Trubisky, which why not? Why try and get a better quarterback? Why trade for a quarterback that you're going to stick behind a really bad offensive line? Make the rest of your team great, and then
around Trubisky for the last couple of years. You've got him, yeah. I would.
I mean, see if he is Trubisky is definitely flashy. He can be a good quarterback. Let him run around. Get him some better protection. Definitely get him some better protection. Mm-hmm. You have a decent running back in David Montgomery. He is not the number 5 running back or whatever he finished. Some stupid number that he finished this year.
But he can tote the rock.
But he's decent enough. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you give him some weapons. You draft and maybe pick up some offensive linemen in free agency. And you might have and you got a solid defense too. You might have yourself a close to playoff contender right there, just with the team that you're pretty close already. Mm-hmm. Losing Allen Robinson is going to hurt, but there's also other guys that are coming into free agency as well, like Tyrell Williams. He's not bad. He just needs to stay healthy. Kenny Golladay, not bad.
They had a young guy too. They liked a lot. Was that the Darnell Mooney?
Yeah, that's Mooney. Yeah, I think it was.
And then I think there was another one coming
Anthony
into
Miller.
Off season last year that played well in preseason besides Mooney. Anyway,
Anthony Miller.
No,
they spent a second round pick on him. No idea who you're talking about.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up. I'm not going to bother right now, but yeah,
it doesn't really matter. I mean, that's really all I got on Cole Kmet. Like I said, it might be a long shot of him hitting the top 12, but he could. He's definitely got the physical prowess of doing it.
We've thrown our shade on Jimmy Graham.
It's a bit of a bold call, but hey, that's why we're here. We're here to make some bold calls every once in a while.
Perfect for a show like this, exactly.
It's a purely speculative show. I just wanted people to not forget about Cole Kmet and how.
Oh, by the way, it was Notre Dame, not USC. The former tight end.
Yes. I just wanted to get Cole Kmet's name out there. I don't know if he's going to be a perfect tight end to maybe think about if you completely and utterly just punt tight end in
the last couple rounds of your draft. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Before your defense and kicker type of thing.
Yeah, or maybe even get your defense and kicker. Sometimes I like to do that. Is
be bold,
kicker and then let the very last round.
Hey, there's defenses that can borderline win you leagues, man, for sure. But we don't usually
especially when your commissioner screws up the defensive scoring and your defense is the number 1 player in fantasy football. That
would be awful. I'm so glad I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, you probably don't whatsoever, do you?
Mm-hmm. Nope.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't know, man. I mean, other than we can screw around for a minute, but yeah, I'm done with this.
I think that was a good show. I think we spent about the right amount of time on each guy, and I think we put out some great names.
The only other guy is if you wanted a more serious one, I did talk about Hunter Henry last week's episode,
sure.
And the fact that he's definitely a guy. He is a free agent, so he could be going to a not so good team or a team that doesn't really focus on tight ends. Sometimes teams do that. They spend money on tight ends and they
you have to spend a certain amount of your free agents of your cap room. It's required.
You do.
There's a floor too.
Yeah. I mean, you can't just sit on that money. You have to. They make you spend it,
mm-hmm.
And that's how some players get ridiculous contracts because they're just well, we had to spend the money somewhere.
Absolutely. One important name to mention, kind of harkening back to the last week's tight end show that I touched on in my honorable mentions, is Blake Jarwin, or insert Cowboys tight end. I think that's an important position to keep an eye on in terms of if it is Jarwin, if it's Schultz.
I think it's going to be Jarwin.
I think so too. I would absolutely agree. But just we have time to speculate because it's off season. I think the position is more important to focus on. I think with a healthy Dak, assuming he gets his money and his health.
No, he's going to the Colts, sir. He's going to the Colts.
No.
Dude, I would be so freaking happy, and I would so buy a Dak jersey, and then I would wear it every time I saw you. Every single time.
I would hate it.
I would.
But hey,
if we were hanging out,
I'm one who's a fan of a team.
If we were hanging out for a week, I wouldn't wash it the entire week, and I just wear it every. It'd get pretty stinky, but it'd be worth it.
I'm the one who's a fan of a team that apparently isn't giving this guy his respect that he deserves. But anyway, we're just in a Cowboys or a Dak show. I'm just saying that position seems to be very productive. So keep an eye on that position.
And I guess another name that could easily hit the top 12 is for tight ends is Evan Ingram. The problem with Evan Ingram is
I don't hate it.
Daniel Jones. He's not a very good quarterback, and Evan Ingram loves to drop the ball.
Yeah,
I believe he had the second most drops out of any pass catcher.
He still gets a butt ton of targets.
Yeah, I mean he's got the physical talent to do it. He's got to he's got to get the ball in between his hands and then hold on to it. Yep. So he might be one of their best, if not the best pass catcher there in New York for the Giants at least.
No, I think that's exactly what it's a product of. I think he has been for a couple of years. Yeah, for sure.
They just need to focus on him a little bit. I think a little bit more. There's times where they just get away from him, and it's just like, what are you doing?
Why for?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't get it. And that's
a wrap.
That's all I got, man. That's a wrap.
All right. Well,
until next week, which we will be talking about either offensive lines or head coaching. A little bit of housekeeping.
Changes. Follow us on twitch.tv/amazingfantasyfootball. And then I also include the email address there if you want to get in touch with us about anything really, any suggestions about getting together some leagues. We're going to try and focus our attention on basically our Discord server.
You can just email us and be like, hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
I mean, and when will you email you back and say, fine.
Mm-hmm. And then as far as Twitch goes, we're not streaming a ton lately because we're if y'all don't know, we did stream the whole regular season. We streamed our matchup show and our waivers and our injuries. We're going to focus a bit more on recordings because we want to move forward with that in the regular season, but also this offseason gives us an opportunity to get better. But we are still streaming on special occasions. We did a super stream for Super Bowl Sunday, and we're going to do something for the draft round 1. I believe it's a Thursday night evening. Yeah. So.
And I mean, if we really wanted to, we could probably do the next round too, but whatever.
We'll see what happens. We're trying to leave the stream a little more loose, and the YouTube and podcast a little more structured.
And I believe we were gonna leave the stream for Sunday mornings and injury updates and everything.
Yes, and make that more of our hangout morning day thing.
It'll be a more loosely structured kind of hangout. People can ask us questions.
We'll have our recordings done for the week, so we'll be, full of research and information, and we'll be having our coffee, getting ready for game day.
Yes, sir.
I love it.
Until then, everyone, stay safe, wear a mask, and we'll catch you all next week.
Bye, y'all.